pretty cool. You kind of chef-like, so you get to kind of create a recipe that you think is going to be tasty. You have a flavor combination you're hoping is going to work out, and then you kind of see how it goes. The reason I got interested in the craft beer industry and beer overall is because I started homebrewing. My wife, Michelle, and I went to University of North Carolina, Asheville, and while we were there, I worked at a brewery and I worked at a homebrew supply store. We moved back to Wilmington, and there was kind of a void in the market, so there wasn't really a good homebrew supply store in Wilmington, North Carolina. So we decided to pop one up, a little 900 square foot place down the road, and we worked there for about 2.5 years. And then after we did well, after about a year, we decided to expand. We definitely had to expand the homebrew shop, and we wanted to expand into a brewery. One reason that we are different is because we have the homebrew side as well. So we have kind of this free flow of information from customers coming in. Hey, they like this beer on draft. We can set them up a homebrew kit of that beer. That's pretty cool, just having that kind of connection to the homebrewer still. Our brewery does a variety of beers all the time. And we kind of we want to at least have one of every kind of flavor preference. The actual brewing process, where we actually cook the ingredients, is where we heat up our water, mix it with our grain, convert that starch into sugar, boil it with some hops. Drain it, cool it, get it down to about 70 degrees, a little below. Depending on the beer, we range to 62 degrees. Add our yeast. The yeast actually does most of the work. So we're brewing like yeast food, so a really sugary, oxygen-rich environment. And the yeast is converting that sugar and oxygen into beer, so alcohol and CO2. We'll let it settle, pull the yeast off, do all that, carbonate the beer, and then we'll serve it right through the wall in no time. The cool thing about the craft beer industry is there are so many different beers out there, and there's so many different flavor profiles. Like we could do the exact same process with the exact same ingredients as another brewery in town, but because of our kettle size and because of our fermenter size and headspace and yeast pitching rates and oxygen rates, our beer would be different than our neighbor's beer, even though it's the same recipe. There's a lot of public information out there from other breweries on, oh, this process worked with this style of beer and this did it. And that's one of those nice parts of the brewing industry that's so transparent and people are willing to help each other. The brewing industry in the US and in Wilmington and North Carolina is growing tremendously. There will eventually be a plateau where the craft brewery, it's hard to start a new brewery and be successful, but right now I don't see it anytime soon, especially in Wilmington, just being such a new market. There haven't been enough to kind of infiltrate the market, especially doing like tap sales or around town draft distribution, which we're about to head into, to kind of be nerve-wracking yet. Eventually, once the craft brewery number's so high and there are only so many taps at so many bars, it'll be a little more competitive. But right now, everyone's really supportive of each other, and I think that's part of the reason it's growing so fast.